Hey, what's up? It's Rabbi Sandra. Welcome back to another episode of Rabbi Talk. Before we begin, please hit subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Magical things happen on this app when we get to 1,000 subscribers, and you could help me with that. And also create a community here on YouTube where I can do more content and connect with more people. So that'd be great. So today we're going to talk about God's presence. We're going to do that by talking about this week's Torah portion of Vayeitze. This week's Torah portion begins in Genesis chapter 28, verse 10. So at the beginning of this week's Torah portion, Jacob camps out at night and rests his head on a stone. That just sounds so painful to me. Can you imagine sleeping on a stone, putting your head on a stone? Anyway, but that's what he had. So he went to sleep on a stone. He dreams of a ladder planted in the earth, stretching from the earth up to the heaven, with angels ascending up and down constantly, angels ascending and descending constantly. Personally, I see the angels as a metaphor for how we pray. Our prayers start here on earth when we connect with the divine. Our prayers start here on earth and then flow upward toward the divine. And God's attention and love and blessings flow back to us. So our prayers start here on earth. They head up towards God, and God's attention and love and blessings and comfort flow back to us on earth. So like that ladder going up and down from earth to heaven. So in Jacob's dream, God is standing next to him. God tells Jacob, remember, I am with you. I will protect you wherever you go, and I will never leave you. And when Jacob awakes, he cries out, surely God is in this place, and I didn't know it. So Jacob wakes up, cries, surely God was in this place, and I didn't know it. Because in Jacob's dream, God was standing next to him. So when I started talking, I said I was going to talk about God's presence. And we are often reminded of the awesomeness of God, the awesomeness of the divine in the spectacular moments of our lives, such as the birth of a child, college graduation, high school graduation, recovering from an illness, a simcha, a celebration, bar mitzvah, all of the wonderful things that you can think of that are awesome in our lives. We are often reminded of the awesomeness of God in those moments. And in these and other rare moments, we might find ourselves especially open to a connection with the divine. And in these moments, we might echo Jacob and say, surely God is in this place, and I did not know it. It's also possible to experience God's presence in the mundane, everyday moments of our lives. And when we do, we can also exclaim, surely God was in this place, or surely God is in this place. So when Jacob awoke from his dream, the text describes him as shaken by the experience. And then he utters one of my favorite lines from the Torah, Ma norah hamakom hazeh. How awesome is this place? Or, as I like to translate it, oh my God, this place is amazing. Jacob realizes in that moment that he is in God's house. Too often we think of our synagogues as God's house. And sometimes we might feel disappointed when we leave our shuls, our synagogues, after service and don't feel God's presence. And sometimes prayer can feel like an appointment. Jacob's story in this week's Torah portion reminds us that God is everywhere. The burden is on us to recognize God's presence and to remember that wherever we go in our lives, the divine is with us. Sometimes life gets in the way and we do not realize that God is very much a part of our lives. This Torah portion is telling us that God is with us all the time. All we need to do is be present. Be present and be in the moment and to be aware. And when we do that, we open our hearts and our minds to the presence of the divine. And like Jacob, we can say, God is in this place, and I didn't know it. Those are my words for this week. Hit me up in the comments section if you have any questions. Have a great rest of your week, and Shabbat Shalom.